Hey there guys, what is going on? Hope you're all well. Welcome back to the channel. Today we've got another roundup of the biggest news from the CDL and the RLCS. So yeah, let's get straight into it. But just before we start the video, if you are new, please leave a like and subscribe, because yeah, there'll be a lot of this content coming soon, especially now with the RLCS trade window closed and the CDL roster lot coming in the next few weeks. I think it's coming in about 2 weeks time. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of content coming out on the channel. So yeah, just look forward to that. But yeah, let's get straight into it. We're going to flip it over this week. We're going to start off with the RLCS. So yeah, let's get straight into the first news story. So our first story of the day today is obviously from the RLCS, because honestly that's where everything's been going on over the past few days. But yeah, let's get into the first and most important story in my opinion, and that is that Kronovi, the Mountain, the original best player in the RLCS, who's been playing since season one of the only players who is still here in the RLCS, has officially been dropped from his spot on the Rogue roster in place of Taroko. There was a announcement a few days ago where Kronovi got dropped, obviously, and then about a day later the Taroko announcement came out, and yeah, so Kronovi's been dropped, and this is massive news. Like, obviously, as I said before, Kronovi, one of the most well-known players in the history of the RLCS, has been playing since season one, was part of course of that original iBuyPower roster that run the first season of RLCS alongside Over Zero and I forget who the other one, I think it was Lashinio, that was it. It was Lashinio, Kronovi, and Over Zero, you know, one of those, that original first roster, but now he is no longer on Rogue. And a lot of people were referencing the whole thing that happened at the start of last season. I don't know if any of you remember that with First Killer, how he said in a Twitch chat, in the chat about a year ago, now it was actually quite a long time ago, where he said that you know, they were going to last one more season before getting a roster change, and ever since then a lot of people have been saying that, you know, First Killer and Turanturo are really planning since the start of the season on getting rid of Kronovi, and it seems like at this point that was true, because here's exactly what he said. He said last season about surviving one more year, then getting an upgrade, and that was quite a damning thing. And at the time we all thought Kronovi was going to leave before the start of last season, and he is gone now. And yeah, so as I said, at the time, a lot of people thought he was talking about Kronovi, and that seems to be true. And Kronovi as well, you can see on the screen now, I'll put the tweet from Shift, get it up here. So here it is, the departure of a legend. Today we part ways with Kronovi as part of our Rogue Rocket League roster. It's been 2 years we'll never forget, and we wish nothing but the best for his future. So there's the official announcement from Rogue that Kronovi has been dropped, and it was quite a shocking thing to hear. But then of course we see this coming out from Kronovi. He released a tweet longer, and it's quite long, so I will leave it in the description if you want to read the whole thing. But I'm just going to read the second paragraph, because I think the second paragraph is a very interesting thing, so probably the most interesting bit about the entire tweet longer, so I'll read it out to you now. First, I want to start off with the reason why I left. As I'm sure most people can guess, the team environment was far from perfect. Personalities on the team clashed quite a bit, and it often led to animosity during practice and or live games. Before the major happened, I had a talk with our manager. I told him if we couldn't overcome the hurdles we had tripped on all the other last regionals, then I would like to be put up for transfer / be released. I felt like the three of us from Rogue had hit our peak, and I was tired of trudging through practice with a team that I know wanted to replace me and that couldn't even compete with top 4. Now that is a pretty damning statement right there from Kronovi, especially a player who was well respected in the community as him. And you know, it's, for me, it's definitely that thing that was like, wanted a team that I know wanted to replace me. That is just like, it sounds bad. I mean, he did go on in the next paragraph of this tweet longer to say, as bad as that paragraph sounds, I'm not really upset. So he's clearly not too angry about this, but yeah, you can read the rest of this tweet longer. I'll leave a link to it in the description. But what it goes on to say really is just that, you know, he's going to take some time out. He's not going to join another team for the split, which I think is the right decision. But yeah, honestly, I think this is really going to vilify Turanturo and First Killer, maybe even Taroko, just Rogue in general for the next split, because Kronovi is a loved player in the Rocket League community, and I don't think this is going to go down well with a lot of the fans. But it's a big story, it's a massive story, and yeah, Kronovi is going to be without a team for the new split. Now on to our second story of the RLCS. We're following this up with another roster move, and that is that Tox has officially joined Solary after being dropped by the Vodafone Giants. This is another very big story. This is probably one of the biggest moves in the EU region. I did not expect him to go down to a team like Solary. Of course, he will join Exotic and Carrion on that roster. And of course, he will be in place of Ukis, who was dropped from the Solary roster, and that was because he got dropped from the Vodafone Giants in place of Itachi. It's been a whole mess in the European region and the NA region in the RCS recently. But yeah, of course, dropped from the Vodafone Giants, joined Solary, Ukis was dropped. It's a pretty big move I think this team's definitely going to be a lot better with Tox on. I think Solary was already a pretty good team. They obviously made the last 4, or last 8 rather, of the first 2 European regionals. I'm not sure if they made the last 8 in the last regional, but I'm pretty sure they did play at the major. I don't think they got too far, but they definitely did play at the major. And I think Tox is definitely a player who could push them up maybe into those maybe I'd say top 5. I wouldn't say they would go any higher than top 5 with Tox, but he is definitely a very good player who's definitely going to help them a lot. He's a very talented player, had a very good split with the Vodafone Giants. It's been honestly, it's been a mad few weeks in the transfer window in the split. Of course, it is closed now. There will be no more moves. I think apparently the last one to be confirmed will be Kronovi and Scrub Killer. So Kronovi to Liquid, and as I mentioned in the last video, and Scrub Killer to Singularity, which is a new thing that came out yesterday. That'll probably be announced. Oh yeah, Godsmith has been benched again by Scrub Killer. He must hate Scrub Killer right now. He put quite a funny tweet out. I might put it at the end of the video. But he'll join up with Exotic, and he'll join up with Carrion. But yeah, for the new start of the new split, I think this is going to be a pretty good roster to look out for. And I would say, I definitely look out for the Vodafone Giants, definitely look out for Solary, and I would definitely look out for Dignitas as well, which leads us on to our final story about the RLCS. And yes, guys, finally, our final story about the RLCS. How could we miss it? Apparently, Jack to Dignitas has finally been confirmed. Apparently Jack was today or yesterday now, but at the time, of course, was today, officially being unveiled as a Dignitas player following the release of Yukio. And if you didn't see, Yukio actually went on to join Team Fadeaway alongside Ocelon and Freaky. He's joined Team Fadeaway, and then we have apparently Jack here on Dignitas. And if any of you see the tweet, I'll probably put it on the screen. I'll probably put it on the screen from Violent Panda about saying the 4 J's of Dignitas. It was John, Jos, Joris, and Jack now, because obviously John's the coach Verge, and then Jos is Violent Panda, Joris is obviously Jorias. It's quite a funny tweet Joris put up, and I'll put that on the screen. Joris was saying that's the only reason they signed Jack. But I think finally this has probably been one of the most anticipated moves of the entire window. Apparently Jack has pretty much been rumoured to be going to Dignitas ever since the start of the split. So it's really not a surprise to see him go there. It'll be a good team to see. I think this will definitely improve Dignitas. I think they'd sort of hit their limit with Yukio. I don't think they were really going to get any better. I think getting 3rd place at the Season 8 World Championship was definitely a good placing for Dignitas. I don't think they were ever going to beat that Vitality or NRG team. That NRG team was on fire with Turbo Pulsar. They look even better now with Squishy. I think apparently Jack joining Dignitas is probably one of the biggest moves of the trade window. I think he's a very good player, had a very good start on Rix. And of course, he has been a free agent for a few days, actually, or about a week, to be honest, with apparently Jack after Rix revealed the signing of Magnus a few days ago. And they actually did really well in their first tournament with Magnus. I don't think they got top place. I think it was at the WSOE. I think they got it was either 4th or 5th. They did really well at that tournament with Magnus. And I definitely think Rix are going to do a lot better with Magnus. I definitely think Dignitas are also going to do a lot better with apparently Jack. So this is a massive transfer. It's been waiting for it for a long, long time, and it's finally happened. There we go. We have apparently Jack officially unveiled at Dignitas. Alright, now let's move over to some CDL news. We're starting off here with Clayster on Twitter. Clayster is apparently still a little bit salty about himself being released from the Dallas Empire, and honestly I can see why, but he put out a few tweets this morning. He put it all yesterday morning. Put out a tweet yesterday morning saying, "Last cry of the off-season. I still think it's hilarious. I was forced to move my entire life to a different city on a dime just to get traded, sold after winning champs." And he makes a valid point, to be fair. I think the Dallas Empire, obviously, they had to drop one player because obviously the rosters have gone down from 5 to 4. And to pick from a championship winning roster the player you have to drop, it's obviously very difficult. But I think Clayster was very unlucky to be dropped. I mean, he's one of the only 3 players ever in Call of Duty history to win 3 championships. You've got Karma, Crimsix, and him. And obviously, you can understand why he's a bit annoyed about it. But it is quite funny to see him so annoyed. He put in the comments as well, "Can I go back to Austin, please?" Which is quite funny because obviously that's in Dallas. And then next one in the comments to that one, he said, "I need to sit down and make a YouTube video about why KD is irrelevant and to a team, and that's winning, and hopefully help some people to understand what it means to play for a W and not to play for a KD." Now this obviously might be a bit of a shot at some of the Dallas players, or maybe just other players who will pinpointing him out on Twitter, just calling him out. But yeah, it's just quite funny to see this from Clayster. See he's still fired up, and I think it's good for New York to see that he's this fired up about the new season. I think definitely when he faces Dallas next year in the CDL, it's going to be a massive game. So we got to look forward to that one. Back to 4v4. I'm excited for the new season of the CDL, and it starts very, very soon because of course Black Ops Cold War actually comes out next week, and I cannot wait. I'm not going to be able to get it actually, because I have to wait until I get my PS5, so it might not be a while until I'm able to play it. But yeah, Clayster's clearly going to be fired up for the new season. Alright, going into our second story, this is slightly less important, and it's less focused on Call of Duty, but it was still quite important to point out, and that was the beef on Twitter between Hastro, Nadeshot, and then the G2 owner, Ocelot. It was a massive thing. So it still started off with Hastro. It was pretty mad. Puts on Twitter, I don't want to be a team owner whose aim is to sell you hoodies and make you watch videos. I want to be a team owner who lets you experience winning. This is quite clearly, a lot of people were saying this. It could be a few people it was pointed at, but I think we all know who specifically this is pointed at. It's obviously pointed at Nature and 100 Thieves. It was pretty spicy on Twitter. Hastro went on a bit of a rant yesterday. And it was pretty nutty. And then in the comments of this one, he responded to this, making a thread saying, ask yourself why you cheer for some of these teams who sign big personalities just so they can sell you stuff when you could be an Envy fan and know you will experience W's. Honestly, when I saw this, I was quite surprised. I didn't really think this was the best idea from Hastro. I think it was just quite an impulsive tweet. I don't think he probably thought this through too well before doing this because, it doesn't make him look too good, to be honest. But then this I found quite funny was Ocelot, who is as I said, is the CEO of G2, responded with this tweet: I'll sell you hoodies while we win. Which is sort of saying, we'll do both at the same time. And then, of course, we got our boy Jake Lucky, who said, I need a video title idea. Someone hit me up. And then Ocelot responded in the comments by saying, Spanish legend schools boomer that owns one good team in one good game, while former McDonald's employee laughs in cream hoodie. And, of course, what he's referring to here is Nadeshot, because Nadeshot, before he became a Call of Duty pro, was actually working at McDonald's. And of course the cream hoodie is one of the best selling hoodies from the 100 Thieves merch. And then of course we have Hastro, who saw this tweet and responded in quite an aggressive manner. He said, start by trying to school your Korean and Chinese overlords. Nadeshot, I don't think actually responded to this tweet yet. I think that was probably the best option from Nadeshot, to be honest, just to stay away from this. It was just kind of stupid Twitter beef, but it was quite funny to see like Hastro, or these big CEOs like Hastro. Hastro was CEO of one of the biggest esports organizations in the world in Envy, and then also at Ocelot as well, one of the biggest esports organizations in the world in G2 as well. It was pretty funny to see these two having a go at each other, and Jake Lucky as well getting involved, our boy. But yeah, it all seemed to calm down now. But honestly, I don't really know why Hastro did it, but it's quite interesting because any matchup between 100 Thieves, especially if they're coming into Call of Duty with the LA Thieves, with the Dallas Empire, or any matchup between G2 and Envy and any other esport, Rocket League, League of Legends, whatever it is, it's going to be a great matchup after this. So it's just good to see fuel added to the fire between these two. Between the rivalries between these esports organizations. It's going to be interesting to see what happens over the year. But it was quite funny to see this the other day. And then finally, we're going to round this all off with a clip you might have seen on the Courage and Nadeshot show about a month ago. I think this was about a month ago. Let's see when it went out. Got the YouTube video up here. It was on the 5th of October, so the start of last month. But it has resurfaced now about Scumps talking about his retirement on the 100 Thieves podcast, the 100 Thieves podcast on the 100 Thieves channel with Nadeshot and Courage, and it was this conversation he was having about his retirement. So I'll play the clip for you now.
And I would rather compete for the period that I can instead of trying to do the content thing and force it early. I don't want to force it. Yeah. Because I'll be unhappy doing it. So, I'm not saying I got like 5 years left in me, but it's winding down. I've already been playing for 10 years, so I don't have a set time. It's just it's getting there. So
well, I think we actually asked you that question, and it really wasn't even my original question. I asked you at the first time we did the Courage and Nadeshot show, but what I was going to ask you is, do you see yourself being a part of Optic for the rest of your life, or do you have bigger ambitions? Not to say that they aren't comparable in prestige. I know being a part of Optic and NRG and working with Hector is an amazing opportunity. But would you ever see yourself going down the route that I went and starting your own organization, or are you just complacent? Not complacent, that's not the right word. Are you happy and fulfilled with the position you are in your career from a business perspective?
Yeah, I mean, again, I love what I do. I've been enjoying it. If I didn't enjoy it, I would have been out of here. Obviously, monetary wise, there are better opportunities out there than being a Call of Duty pro, and I'm not stupid. I get that. But I just enjoy what I do. As for what I'm going to do afterwards, I mean, I've been thinking content, but life's crazy, and you never know what'll pop up. So, the future is always. It's worrying, but it's also, exciting. It's it's difficult. It's difficult to say what I'm going to do because, this could be 2, 3, 4 years out, maybe shorter, again, I don't have a set time, but we'll just see where life takes me and see what I can come up with. Obviously Hector's my guy, and he's always going to urge me to do what's best for me, and we'll just see what we figure out. It's really all there is to it. But right now I'm planning on being a content creator, when I'm done. So
yeah, a lot of people have been debating on Twitter about if the CDL would actually survive without Scump, with his retirement. And you might have seen that Tactical Rob made a video about this, I think it was yesterday or the day before. And he did actually put up the viewing figures for the World Championship. And the most viewed game was actually the Grand Final, which of course Scump was not playing in due to the Huntsman falling out in the semi-finals. But it is an interesting conversation. What will happen if the king of Call of Duty, because you can't bat around the bush, that is what he is, the king of Call of Duty. If he was to retire, what would happen for the professional Call of Duty scene? What would, no one really knows what would happen. He's the biggest name. When Nadeshot retired, the viewership went down, and whenever Optic used to be playing back in the day, that was when the viewership was as high as it possibly could be. So if Scump does retire, does that mean that the viewership of the CDL is going to go down massively? We're going to have to find out, of course. He didn't actually say it was going to be like this season or at the end of next season. He just said it definitely is coming soon. So we'll have to see what happens. But if the CDL is to lose someone like Scump, it would be very interesting to see what does happen to the viewership, because of course he is such a big part of where all the viewership comes from for the CDL. So yeah guys, that's going to wrap up all the news stories we have for the CDL and the RLCS over the past few days. If you did enjoy the video and you are new, please like and subscribe as well. Leave a comment of any things I missed. Of course, I would love to hear stuff that I missed. If I do miss anything important, please let me know in the comments. Yeah, just let me know on Twitter. I will leave my Twitter linked in the description as well, so go and subscribe to that. We'll also leave, of course, the twit longer that Kronovi put in the description and all the references for all the stuff I got in this video if you want to go check it out and have a deeper look into it yourself. But yeah, that'll wrap it up for today, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Have a good evening, and I will see you very soon.